Okay. Hi guys, this is Emily
and Lori,
and we are Princesses of the Puck, bringing you our special Valentine's Day edition of things we love about the LA Kings.
That's right, and we're coming to you today from beautiful Malibu, and that brings us to one of the things we love about the Los Angeles Kings. They play in Los Angeles.
It's really quite beautiful, actually. It's like 80 degrees on a Monday, and we're sitting out here by the beach.
Yeah, it doesn't suck, I'll tell you that.
It does not. I'm starting to see why Lucic has just been saying that he wants to finish out his career with the LA Kings.
Can you blame
Not
him?
a bad idea, Luch.
Please stick around, Luch. We like you.
Yes, and Lori had the chance to meet him and many others at Tippecanoe.
So I think you probably saw if you were on Twitter, there were a few complaints about the format this year, most notably the photo fail. And yes, it was a little bit tough to get your photos this year. They hired a professional photographer to make things go faster, which I think the lines weren't as lengthy and they did go faster, but
Nice.
There was a mix-up and it didn't work out as well as it should have. But despite all that, I love this event, and I'll tell you a couple reasons why. First of all, we're really fortunate that we have a team that gives so much to the community. And
King's Care Foundation, I think, is what they partner with. Yeah.
The King's Care Foundation, if you don't know about it, raises money for the health and well-being and education of kids all over Los Angeles. They give to Children's Hospital LA. They do the Blood Mobile every year. They do a lot of great things in the community. And the money from Tippecanoe goes towards the King's Care Foundation. So it's one of their big fundraisers of the year. And truly, if you ever go online and just look for the brochure that King's Care puts out every year talking about what they do, you'll be amazed at all the great work they do. So really, that's one of the reasons that I love Tippecanoe. But the other, of course, is that we have a fantastic team that really is dedicated to its fan base. And you can see that when you walk around there, that, you know, even though these guys have just come from, in this case, a long practice, the last 2 years,
very long practice
games,
yes.
Which, by the way, they lost.
I think they lost both times.
They did.
In the last 2 years.
Last year it was to the Predators in that crazy one that went to overtime.
God, yes, that was so close.
So, you know, they might not have been the happiest of campers leaving Staples on both those occasions. And, you know, here they're getting prepared to go on a long road trip, and they had a long practice, but they headed out, and I mean, you could tell they just enjoyed being there and letting, you know, the fans come up and chat with them and take photos and autographs, and particularly all the kids that were there.
So
it was
cute.
Great to see the players interacting with the kids. I saw a couple instances of Milan Lucic in particular having some great interactions with the kids. I also saw you know, Toffoli bonding with some of the kids.
So cute.
Saw Dustin Brown high-fiving them on his way back from his bathroom break.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know, they do a lot for the community and for the fans, and I love that about the event. And of course, you know, if you're a fan, you just love to go and you love to actually meet the guys that you watch on the ice all the time, see what they're like in person. You know, get your photo, snap with them.
They're all really good guys.
They really are.
Yeah.
They really are.
So the second thing that we love about the LA Kings is Chris Sutter. Ever since Daryl has come to coach this team, and don't get me wrong, I love me some Daryl Sutter. When I met him at Tippecanoe a couple years ago, the first thing I said was, "Thank you for our Stanley Cups." But Chris coming in has really been such a huge part of the community. You see him on the dance cam all the time, and every time you see him, it's the loudest cheer you will ever hear in that stadium. It doesn't matter how many goals we've scored or how many great saves Jonathan Quick has made. The dance cam with Chris, it's so lovely to see, and I think he was at Tippecanoe this year as well, signing autographs.
He was.
Someone gave him a photo or a shirt that said...
Yes, so you'll see that in my article too that I wrote for Cali Sports. There are a couple of Twitter fans. Hockey Hooligan, at Hockey Hooligan is the name of the guy who made the shirts, and at Rico Alonso is the name of the guy who delivered the shirt to Chris.
Nice.
And it says, "I've got the moves like Sutter."
Like Sutter, yes.
And they presented it to Chris, and I guess he was very excited to get the shirt. And
have you talked to him? He's the sweetest guy I've ever spoken to. He's so lovely.
I have not gotten an opportunity to do more than at last year's Tippecanoe. My daughter and I saw him walking down the hall, and we said, "Chris," and he turned and smiled, and my daughter said, "Could we get a selfie with you?" And he said, "Sure," and we took a selfie, and then he went on his way. So yeah.
He's really great, and the community, like the sports community too, has really reached out to him. When they had the Special Olympics here, he was personally invited to be one of the torchbearers and be part of that ceremony. And the last couple of years, you've seen Daryl as one of the head coaches at the
All-Star Game.
Thank you. I was totally blanking on that for a second. And you've seen players there just love getting to know him as well, and he gives the speeches, and I think Drew this year said, you know, we're going to give him a second chance because we didn't win last year, so he's got the speech this year.
Right.
It's just adorable to see him and the impact that he's made on everybody around him.
Absolutely. And if you haven't looked at it already, I definitely encourage you to go to King's Vision and dig up the video that they put out during the All-Star game, which is a conversation with Daryl Sutter and with Barry Trotz, the coach of the Capitals.
Nice.
Because Barry Trotz also has a son who was born with Down syndrome, and the two coaches really connected over that bond, and it's just a really heartwarming thing to watch. And, you know, of course, it makes you feel very lucky that you when you're healthy, but it also makes you realize, like, how much these kids contribute, adults really, in Chris's case, contribute to the community, to their families, to our city, to our Kings, right?
Yeah. Speaking of All-Star, new format this year. Love it.
Love it.
Love it.
Love
it. Was so much more. I felt like I was so much more involved this year.
And I think the players were too.
Yeah. It wasn't this huge blowout of, oh, here's a goal and here's a goal and there's like 17 points later.
Exactly.
I mean, actually,
the final game was a 1-0 game, so I felt like I was watching Kings hockey.
Yes, it felt really good. And for a while, because I'm such a huge Avs fan, I was like, oh, the Avs scored. Wait, no, we're not playing. No, bad. We don't like that.
No, Central Division.
Yes, bad Central. Can't like you, Blackhawks. Sorry. But it is coming to LA next year, which is something we're very excited about. I think that's going to be really fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I think LA is a great host city for it because we got the weather, we've got the beach, we've got the city, we've got Staples, we've got great fans. I think we're going to put on a heck of an All-Star.
I think we are, and it's tied in with our 50th anniversary. The LA Kings turned 50 as of this year.
That's right, and in fact, I think that the festivities kick off. Actually, this week, the Kings will be wearing their the TBT Forum Blue and Gold jerseys to the Boston game on Tuesday.
Beautiful.
And that'll, of course, be Milan Lucic's first time back to his home
team. That'll be fun.
So yeah, there have been a couple great pieces written about that too, so check those out because he's written very articulately about his experience in Boston and why he still loves the city, why he loved the fans there, how they embraced him, and how excited he also was to come to the Kings because it was one of the few teams that he felt like, well, if I have to leave Boston, that's a great place to go. So,
which leads us into the next thing we love about the LA Kings. Hockey magician Dean Lombardi.
Thank you, Dean.
We love you.
Thank you.
In Dean we trust. He is one of the best general managers I think this team has ever had.
No doubt. You blew it, Sharks. You really blew it.
Yeah, that sucks to be you because the Sharks have now choked in every playoff game, pretty much, except for the one where we didn't have Kopitar the whole playoffs.
That's right.
And the fact that we've been a contender, we've won it twice in 3 years, and we're top of our division now, and we're still one of the best contenders, I think. All bias aside, for the Cup again this year, and I think Dean has made some really smart moves.
Absolutely.
I still miss Martin Jones. I'm so sorry he's a Shark. But sacrifices have to be made for the good of the team. We all want another Cup.
That's right, we do. And I think, not only does he make smart acquisitions, but he makes timely acquisitions. So, case in point, Vinny Lecavalier and Luke Shen coming to our team before the trade deadline.
And to see how well they fit in, if they can play with our system, if we need to make another change.
And guess what? They can.
They can, and it's amazing. And we love, love, love going to Kings games this year more than, I mean, I always do, but I feel like this year's, they've definitely been stepping up.
I mean, I think, everyone knows by now that Vinny has really fit in well with us. And, suddenly he's really become the player he used to be and not the player that he was in Philadelphia for the last few years. And, he's fit in well. He's playing his role. He's scoring goals.
And really good goals too.
Really
They're
good goals.
Quite beautiful.
They are. He can pass. He can, screen. He can shoot. He's really a great acquisition for us. And then you have Luke Shen, who I think is going to really help shore up the, no pun intended, the back end of the defense. Having Matt Green out for the rest of the season was definitely a blow.
Yeah.
So we need that. We need the big physical guy back there.
We love that Bob Miller is out of the hospital.
Yes.
He's back home. He's recovering well. Bob, we love having you as part of the LA Kings family. It's really not the same. You watch games on like NBCSN and you hear the East Coast commentators, and They don't compare to Bob. Bob, we love you.
No, they really don't. And, you know, kudos to Nick Nixon doing a great job
Yes.
filling in for Bob,
Mhm.
and kudos to our LA Kings insider, John Rosen, for filling in
Yes.
for Nick. But I know everybody is excited that Bob's doing well, and we hope for a very quick recovery and a quick return.
So from Princess of the Puck here in beautiful, sunny, and apparently now
And windy.
California. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next month.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh yes, happy Valentine's Day.